point that you're just going to lose the match.
Exactly.
So not sure that was the best plan from Paris, but they're back in their comfort zone. Hollywood will be all triple tank, triple support with the Reinhardt. And we are going to see how Atlanta can handle one of the best teams at this strategy in the league in the Paris Eternal.
Atlanta Reign on the attack, speed boosting themselves around the corner. They want to try to approach the point from behind here. Paris Eternal forced to drop down to handle that. And that's what Atlanta wants.
Just going to be a poke war right here. It's all about Zarya charge, and Asun not getting his bubble shot out right there. So all about that teamwork and coordination to make sure that you're maximizing your damage on the barriers and making sure your Zarya is going to have ample damage when the fight is engaged.
See Ben Best trying to play that corner by the stairs to make sure his barrier takes the least amount of damage possible. Now has to move back onto the cart though. Getting a little bit low. He's got the Zarya shield though. That lets him get healed up. Dogman meanwhile free fire from behind, and Ben Best goes down again. It just seems like Paris has had a really hard time keeping him alive in these team fights.
I mean, this is the best game we've seen from Masa so far, Doa. This match, he has been really on fire on setting up plays on this Lucio, and it was him moving the tank line of the Paris Eternal that is going to net them a first team fight win rate. Very patient, slow push. Yes, it took a minute and 15 seconds, but Atlanta Reign win on the first fight, and they do it without using any ultimates. So
I was
great
about
work.
to say, yeah, that's the best part of all of this, is that they come into this with practically 6 ultimates ready to go. And this is a point early on in point B here on Hollywood where you do get stopped sometimes, and Atlanta with the opportunity to just break right through it and skip this whole first fight phase in point B. What is this?
What are they doing right now?
That is interesting.
That is a really...
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh, you can!
What a play! What a grab!
Tosses in the grab. They're going to make it work. And Cruz taken out by the ensuing self-destruct. Atlanta Reign breaking through that in the most stylish way I've ever seen. Ben Best in quite a bit of trouble. We must flee. Die on the point. That's how it works. And, well, I learned something new there, Monte Cristo.
That was incredible. Whoa. What a play from the Atlanta Reign. Death from above with the Graviton Surge. Very creative, and that's just going to break them through the choke immediately. Incredible.
I mean, that's one of those great Zarya plays of all time. Like, you go back to it, like, you know, Zunba bouncing through the window and the door on, like, Eichenwald. It's at that level for me. And now they're going to just go right onto Paris again. Paris responding with the sound barrier, trying to stay alive. They got Pokepo in the grab. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Self-destruct comes in, and that's a nice boop to set up the kill on the Atlanta Reinhardt. Paris not phased as they try to equalize here and get this payload stopped. And with that kill on Defran, it looks like they will be able to stall this out for a bit.
All right, Atlanta coaches, one of you come forward right now and say whose idea that was, because that was amazing.
Pat yourself on the back.
Put that on Twitter. Add that to your resume.
I mean, that's one of those things, too. As a player, you know, a lot of these pro players spend a lot of time just bouncing around an empty map, you know, trying to find things like that. Waits to get over walls. That's a big earth shatter from Ben Best, but the follow-up just isn't there yet for Atlanta Reign. Or for Paris Eternal, rather. Atlanta Reign having to try to fight out of this. They do take down Pokepo. As a start, Daka with the self-destruct. Ben Best gonna lose his shield and then his life as Masa finishes him off. And that aggressive defense for Paris stymied a bit by Atlanta. Now they should be able to get a bit more distance on the payload, but as I say that, Paris still has a few people nearby. But the kill on hip,
yeah,
that helps.
The elimination on hip is really the critical part right there. We're gonna look at this again with Defran. So watch the Lucio here, because the Lucio is gonna use the speed to give him a little bit of extra speed for the double right-click grenade jump into a grab.
Sick. That's one of the sickest things I've ever seen.
I'm just wowed by that play.
Paris Eternal just trying to find any way they can to stop Atlanta Reign, but it's not going well. Ben Best down again. Atlanta have just had his number all day, and the team fight wins have been so convincing. It hasn't even been close most of the time.
This is easily the cleanest play we've seen all season from the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah.
You know, there were questions about how good this team was going to be based on their strength of schedule and opponents, but you know what? Dominating Paris is pretty interesting, especially because, like I said at the beginning of the match, these first 2 maps, Paris should have felt very comfortable on. Atlanta is, I think, only going to get stronger as this match goes on in terms of this map pool.
Oh, the Zinnia a little bit of trouble. Dako trying to find that early pick, but can't quite finish it off. Now Pokpo, ooh, I think he just got stunned during the middle of his animation. No Earth Shatter comes out of him. There's self-destruct, the boop comes out, but luckily the shields are there for Atlanta. They have a chance to strike back now. Benbest low, barely gets that sound barrier in time to stay alive. Gets the kill into Ursa, and so Paris Eternal riding that razor's edge, but they do manage to get a couple kills in the end. Atlanta Reign drops a grab, but that's gonna be one that Defran wants back, as there was no follow-up, and it looks like they're going to lose Masa, on the end of that fight. And
I mean, they got out of there because they saw the trance coming in. They realized that it was not a winnable fight with the amount of players and damage that they had.
Right.
But yes, not the greatest trade, but Soon is just going to get randomly caught out.
Man. Soon is apparently just describing when he's going to die in this fight, but that's a nice Earth Shatter coming in from Benbest now. Again, though, without your Zarya, you're going to have a really hard time putting any sort of damage. I mean, the Zarya is most of the damage in this composition. So to try that without having Soon there is kind of surprising.
Yeah, Defran nearly had another grab, too, dealing an immense amount of damage in that last engagement. Atlanta cruising to a very good time on Hollywood.
And no pun intended, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. Not from you. Paris Eternal just scrambling to try to keep it alive. Soon does get knocked down. If they can kill him again, it's big. There goes Hip, though. Graviton Surge comes in, and Atlanta again crushing through Paris. Cruz the last to die in that fight. And then they will have to witness an extremely quick round 1 finish from Atlanta Reign. That was sick.
Wow. I'm really impressed with the Reign, obviously. Paris has a chance to answer here, but 2 minutes and 2 seconds in the time bank for Atlanta. They're giggling up on stage. Masa's having a fantastic match.
Well, Atlanta, we described him as I described him rather, as a barroom brawler earlier, but it's like that barroom brawler that meets that, like, he's fighting it out, and then like this old boxing coach sees him, he's like, oh, that's a lot of natural talent. And he shapes that raw talent to make him like the best, cleanest boxer in the entire universe.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. They do look better just week by week, the Reign, and Dako died 0 times.
There was like a montage in there somewhere, like this training montage where it's like Defran just like
Defran running on a beach.
Like, that's yep, Dogman going through an obstacle course, something like that. Either way, the training has paid off, and Atlanta Reign looking very, very strong right now in this match versus Paris.
Yeah, in terms of eliminations, really hasn't been close. We talked about the first map. This map, it's already 31-9 in favor of the Reign. Dako with 0 deaths, Masa and Dogman with only 1 each. So a lot of that criticism of Dogman dying. He has, to his credit, he has been playing further back today, it seems like. And
which, if you're Zen, that's generally what you want to do.
May have been overbold in the past, but looking good today.
He's best in show so far.
He's best in show, that's right.
We'll see if he can keep it up. I love that movie. Paris Eternal with their chance to attack here. Going for the 3-3, of course, as we would expect from them. But man, they need to finish it fast. 2 minutes and 2 seconds in the time bank for Atlanta. That is a blazingly quick time for Hollywood.
Yeah, especially considering this A can drag on for quite some time. Okay, same attack for the Paris Eternal. They will be doing what Atlanta did and wrapping around the backside of the point. Cruz, actually, nope, they're switching it up, so they faked it out. Cruz is behind them. Cruz is bumping somebody up.
He's gonna try. Yeah, he didn't quite get it that time.
That was a clever trick play. He came over the roof to see if they could displace them. That was a fun play from Paris. Idea there is that you get one of the tanks off before they drop down onto the point by having a feint around the rear of the point.
And now watch Cruz is up on that high point again. But Masa right there. It's like a wall riding battle between these two Lucios. Masa doesn't want to let Cruz get behind his tank line. Doesn't want to get that tank booped into the other team. Cruz goes for it anyway. Can't quite find it, but that's a go button for Paris Eternal anyway. And they do get the kill onto Popo in the end. So it worked out. They managed to force him back into that little room, and the damage was just a little bit too severe for Atlanta to deal with. So they will give up A pretty quick.
Yeah, Nico popping the rally there, and that was the trigger, right? You have the extra armor to drive the wedge with your tank line. They successfully cut off the supports over from Pokebo, and a quick first capture now for the Paris Eternal.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta doing it without having to use any ultimates. Paris only needing that rally, so pretty much just as good. Very close. Finzi, a little bit farther away from that self-destruct, but for all intents and purposes, a lot of ultimates up for Paris, for both teams, in fact. Atlanta with a good chance to stall it out here. They're going to throw in the grab first. There's the Transcendence and the Sound Barrier. They kind of layered those. They might be in trouble. Oh, they are! There's a Shatter coming down from Popo. We've seen a lot of great Earth Shatters from this guy, and he's just going to keep the tradition going here with a clean team fight win over Paris.
The problem for Paris there is that they use a couple of those support ultimates, but it was an easy disengage from the rain because Paris didn't use any of their crowd control to lock them in place to take advantage of those ultimates.
Well, they also used the Lucio and the Zen ultimates at the exact same time, too, which is something you generally never want to do. All right, going to be the grab now from Paris. See what they can get out of it. Got to be careful here. Avoid the boot. The sound barrier comes in, preventing a lot of that damage. Now, Doggo throws in his own self-destruct. No kills from that one. Meanwhile, on board with Dogman gets the kill onto Nico. Good start for Atlanta in this team fight. They've got the 6v5, and they've got a lot of low health members of Paris to pick off in the end. And they barely kept Popo alive in that fight, too. That was very close for the Reinhardt, but
Paris was never going to get anything out of that fight, considering that the sound barrier was up. You just didn't have enough charge on the Zarya, you know, to really finish off the damage after a Graviton self-destruct combo. And now Atlanta going to be feeling really comfortable. They got this choke point on lockdown. They're bleeding so much time off the clock.
Yep. And another grab from Defran. We'll see when he decides to use it. Ben Best looking a lot of trouble. That was a nice boop, knocking him into the air. They didn't quite get the kill, but they do have to flee. They've got him separated now. Look at that. Ben Best can't get to his team. They're going to drop the grab in anyway. Luckily, Hip does have the Transcendence, but as it ends, his teammates begin to fall. And Atlanta Reign just looking unbreakable here on defense.
Caught on the corner, so easy to take out Ben Best there while he's separated from the rest of his team with the Graviton Surge.
Yep.
They focus the right targets, and Paris, they are struggling. Still lots of time, but this has been a big, you know, not much of a push so far on B.
Let's see if Paris can finally break out. They've got the rally. They're going for it. They need a rally in every sense of the word here as they try to push Reign back. They're going to get Popo early. So coming out of the gate, really, really aggro, and that's going to be a bit too much for Reign to handle.
I mean, the thing is, Paris played that right. You have the rally, you know they have nothing.
Yep.
So, and Atlanta, there's really not a lot they can do because the rally lasts so long that you can chase them across the entire map with that one, and that's what they're going to do. So just a little bit of a delay, but Atlanta just sort of has to take the L on that team fight, knowing that they're going to come back and try and contest here a couple more times before this payload reaches the end of B.
Well, it's certainly not the end of the world for Atlanta Reign. They've already eaten up so much of Paris's time bank. Paris just lobbing the Graviton Surge.
Oh, beautiful.
Counter shatter from Popo. Ooh, nearly got a lot out of that one, but the sound barrier bailing Paris out for the moment, but not for the fight, as Ben Best soon do go down. That's going to be Atlanta once again stopping that payload hard.
Oh boy, that was such a massive investment for Paris too. You have to block the counter shatter because if your Reinhardt goes down, you can't charge the other Rein and make sure that the self-destruct actually does something in these engagements. That's why counter shatters, while grabbed, are an incredibly important part of the 3-3 meta that we have.
Right.
Because you gotta make sure the Reinhardt can't get that barrier back up in time to block incoming damage. But Popo gets it up because of the shatter.
True enough. Trying to move through the left side here, but Atlanta with a lot of ultimates, they're just gonna jump right on, man. They got the rally. Why not? What can Paris do? I guess Ben Best can charge Dogman. That's something. Defran throws out the grab. Here comes the self-destruct, but everybody's already dead. You didn't even need it in the end. Atlanta Reign, though, they're going to be happy with that either way.
I mean, you don't have any support ultimates if you're Paris. You're just not going to survive a grab where the Reinhardt is swinging on you. The Diva's there. The charge Zarya is wrecking you.
Not going to be too disappointed with that one.
Yeah, that was a big reset for Atlanta, though. So Paris here, this is their last fight, but they're not really close to much besides that rally. And with Dogman with the trance.
Dogman's trance is going to need to be really well timed if they want to end it here. He's going to use it now to keep Popo up. Popo down to about 30% life, and as Soon goes down, well, there it is. Soon and Ben Best killed off again, and now just about 30 seconds remain for Paris on the attack. They might actually go down 0-2 in this series for what I believe is the first time in the league for them.
That would be a really rough situation, and this is why it's the last fight. Finzi is getting tortured.
It's rough, man. 20 seconds now, and Atlanta's going to take a very aggressive stance here. If they can make the fight happen early on, they can prevent Paris from even getting to the
Popo's hiding on the corner. They're going to surprise shatter them. Let's see if it works. This is a good stall tactic at the very least.
Check those corners. Oh, he just charges in anyway. Goes on to Finzi. Whoa, that was an interesting choice. I am absolutely shocked that he did that. All right, well, that's going to be Paris easily responding to that fight. They did send Cruz ahead to get onto the payload, to pop that overtime. And with Atlanta Reign's bizarre engage on that last team fight, it looks like Paris is going to get some distance on the payload now.
It's possible that Popo was seen in that position, but I think what the proper play is just to pop out and use the shatter anyway, because it prevents their advance, which would allow him to get back to his team if he was seen. Also just slows them down on the payload. That was not the play.
You shatter and charge away in that situation, but
I don't even think you need to charge. You just shatter and slow him, you know?
Sure. Well, there's a shatter coming in now from Popo. He saved it. It was all part of the plan, right? Graviton Surge comes in. Soundbear for Atlanta. Oh, and soon gets his grav eaten by Daco as well. Daco with a couple kills with the self-destruct goes down to the other one, but they may be able to win this one anyway. Atlanta certainly with the numbers advantage, and the pen best Earthshatter not going to gain him a whole lot in the back of that fight. Now it's just a cleanup for Atlanta Reign. They can't get back to it, and that will be Reign going up 2-0 in this series.
And it hasn't been close, Doa.
Nope.
63 elims to 23 in favor of the Reign. This has been